Hi, and welcome to this episode of our Strategy Masterclass. In this episode, we're going to be exploring the element of progress review, a key component of strategic processes related to how we execute the strategy, how we monitor the strategy, and then how we refresh the strategy. So let's dive into it. Here we can see our strategic pyramid, how we often think about strategy and how it cascades down through organizations. Within the pyramid, we can see at the very, very top our vision, mission, and level of ambition. The few big, broad commitments to action that we have as an organization. Cascading down, we have strategic enabling priorities, how we achieve the vision and mission, how we achieve our level of ambition, all the way through strategic initiatives, down to the key topic of conversation today, monthly, quarterly, and annual progress reviews. Now let's go into each of these elements individually. The first component is our vision, mission, and level of ambition, that very tip of our strategic plan. Our vision, mission, and level of ambition is ultimately saying, what do we want to achieve? Where do we want to go? What does winning, what does success mean and look like for us as an organization? And the way in which we represent this is through something that we call the strategy on a page. The strategy on a page outlines those qualitative elements, the vision and the mission, and transforms it into the quantitative elements, those KPIs, financially related KPIs and non-financially related KPIs that ultimately say, these are the levers that we want to move, and this is the level of ambition that we want to go and achieve. But how do we make this happen? We make this happen through our strategic and enabling priorities. These answer the questions of how we achieve our strategy on a page, how we achieve our level of ambition. Within strategic and enabling priorities, we leverage a framework called the 3 horizons. The 3 horizons framework lays out our Horizon 1 priorities related to defending and extending our core business, our Horizon 2 priorities related to the big scale-up pieces where we see opportunity for extreme growth, and Horizon 3 priorities, those little bets for the future. As well as that, we have enabling priorities, those that cut across everything else related to our people and our processes and our tools. But then we have the question, well, how do we make this happen? How do we go and execute on our strategic and enabling priorities? We call that our strategic initiatives, how we achieve everything above. It's how we operationalize the strategy down to a tactical level and ultimately make it all happen. Here, you can see beneath each of those priorities, you have the strategic initiatives. And if we achieve those, if we go and commit and execute, we'll make everything above it happen. Finally then, how do we track? How do we cascade it down from the vision and mission through strategic and enabling, through strategic initiatives as we see here? How do we ultimately monitor the entirety of this process? We monitor this process by looking at how we're going to track each element and the timelines through which we track them. Here we can see the ownership and also the review frequency that's recommended from a gold standard perspective for each of these components. So for the vision, mission, and level of ambition, generally this is owned by the top management of an organization. They're the ones who have overriding responsibility for achieving those goals. And it's recommended that within the progress reviews, within the tracking of this, we review it every 6 to 12 months. Because here you're looking at the bigger goals. You're looking at revenue, you're looking at ROIC, you're looking at EBITDA, you're looking at the overriding impact of your strategic plan. So generally you want to touch base and understand progress, generally on a year or so basis. When we then go down to strategic enabling priorities, these are then often owned by what we call priority owners. These may be directors, these may be managers within the organization. They're seniors, they have seniority, however, they're not quite in the top management. Often, we want to review strategic enabling priorities every 3 to 6 months. We may do it quarterly, we may do it every 6 months, but we want to touch base and understand the progress that's being made. And the bottom layer of our progress reviews, the bottom layer of how we track the progress of our strategy, are those strategic initiatives. And they're owned by initiative owners within our organization, potentially team leaders or potentially individuals. And we want to dive in and understand the progress that's being made or not being made every month to every 3 months. It could be quarterly, it could be 12 times a year. The timeline and the cadence that we build out is very, very important. But what's absolutely critical is building the muscle, is building the habit of tracking, reviewing, and ultimately running progress reviews. And here you can see a very, very robust progress review timeline, which is designed to create alignment and transparency throughout an organization. So the little circles that you can see there are the reviews of the initiatives at that bottom layer of the pyramid, and they're happening every single month, January, February, March, and beyond. The bigger circles we can be, they're the reviews of that middle layer, of the strategic enabling priorities, taking place every quarter, March, June, September, and then December. And finally, the dotted line that you can see at the end, that's your annual strategy refresh. That's when we'll dive in and review how we're progressing towards our level of ambition, how we're progressing towards hitting those overriding targets that contribute to our vision and mission. And ultimately, what do we keep? What do we kill? What do we change? And what do we add from our strategic plan in order to be even more successful moving forward? So finally, looking at progress reviews and implementing them within your organization is a critical way in which to build transparency, ownership, and ultimately effectiveness through a company from the very, very top all the way to the front lines. I hope this deep dive today has been helpful and look forward to taking you through further strategic elements in our next Strategic Masterclass. And if there's anything further, you can always check our website. Thank you.